Hello and welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Nina Adio, a social media marketing expert specific to the wedding industry. On this show, I discuss tips to help you DIY your social media, as well as getting the confidence and income to outsource it. Thank you for allowing this episode to come through on your Bluetooth, your car radio, wherever it may be you're listening from today. Now, let's take your wedding business to the next level. Hello, and welcome back to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I am so excited to have you guys here, especially during such a magical time of the year, shall we say, as I record this on Thanksgiving Eve. It is a hellacious time of the year for me, but that's a good thing, right? That's something to be grateful for because we are busy trying to get everybody prepared for the official kickoff to engagement season. Whether you're a wedding planner, photographer, florist, or venue owner, this is when couples start dreaming and planning their big day. The wheels are getting in motion for their wedding planning, and wedding professionals start gearing up for a busy year ahead. So it is really a fun time of year knowing that kind of prosperity is coming on top of a new year coming. So thanks for spending this busy time of year here on our grassroots podcast where we're no frills and we're just getting to the nitty-gritty of some wedding marketing and social media tips. Now, I spoke about the prosperity of engagement season, but I do want to stress, here's the thing. If inquiries don't instantly start flooding your inbox, do not fret. That is completely normal. I remember coming in to the venue I was working at, and I would get the inbox where the leads were coming in, and it would be like the day after Thanksgiving, and it'd be like, where are all they? I would expect it instantly. I would get so excited, but really it was the time for patience and preparation. Now is the perfect time to prepare yourself and your business. And also, I want you to remember every couple has their own timeline for reaching out. And that timeline also varies by vendor category, right? If you're an invitation designer, if you're a photo booth, even a videographer, sometimes you fall towards the end of the inquiry process. For invitations, it's logistics. For photo booth and videographer, sometimes it's something someone is deciding last minute. So don't fret when those inquiries don't come right away, because that is not always the case. But if you are going to have some time on your hand to invest in your business this month, I am going to be doing a free workshop in December. Start Strong, Thrive Long. It is with two incredible service providers for the wedding industry as well, and wedding industry experts. Both have been on the podcast before. So I've had Emily Foster of Emily Foster Creative on the podcast. She does web design and branding for wedding professionals, and she's going to be talking about how to set up your website to thrive. Allie Deniston of Event Enlightenment. She is a luxury wedding planner. She has been on the podcast before talking about breaking into the luxury market, but she's going to be talking on this free webinar how systems help streamline your wedding business and what systems you need to be doing for that to happen. And I, of course, will be talking about social media strategies to help grow your audience and book more clients. So it's completely free, designed to help you set up your business for success in the new year. And we are going live at two different times, once in the morning, once in the evening on December 11th. So I'm going to put the link where you can register in the show notes, or if you go to idoweddingmarketing.com on Instagram, and hit my link in bio there, you'll have a registration link there as well. But but I've seen Wicked, so now I work in little songs whenever I can. But now let's talk about today's topic, which is the impact of different Instagram posts. There are a lot of different options when you go down to create your Instagram calendar for the month. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can just throw up a post, you can do a reel, you can go live, you can do stories, you can do a carousel post. There are so many different things, but why do we do them all? So for me, when I start with a new client, I don't promise a set duration. I don't say, well, I'm going to do 2 reels and 2 carousels, or I'm only going to do I don't do that because I want to see the numbers. I want to see the analytics and I want to align them with my client's goals. So we're going to talk about how these different types of posts may be able to help you reach those different types of goals. So we all know that Instagram is a huge tool for wedding pros. And now we're going to say what works to do what. Let's start with Reels. So, Reels are, of course, a big game changer in the industry. And what I find is that for the majority of my clients, and they are a few outliers, but the majority of my clients, their reels are reaching the most non-followers. Now, why is this so important? Because you're reaching new people. You're reaching a brand new audience. Your reels are going to be essentially first impressions to draw new people in. And you're going to have to keep doing that first impression over and over. I know it's like it defeats the purpose, right, of a first impression. But what's happening is people may not follow right away. I mean, especially this time of year. Somebody who saw your reel last week may not have an engaged sister, may now have an engaged sister this week or be engaged themselves this week. Also, as their search habits change, how your posts get delivered to them changes, right? Somebody who has not been in a relationship, is not engaged, perhaps has not been looking up wedding related content. Now that they are, your stuff will start to come out to them. So reels are important to be reaching new people. They also are the biggest possibility to get follower growth. It doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen. And here's what it looks like very often when it does. When it happens, it's when your reel takes off, it gets a life of its own. So when I had one of my clients' reels take off, it wasn't at all actually bringing in people planning a Detroit wedding. It was just bringing in people. And they would comment saying, "Oh, my sister's going through this or that," but it wasn't attracting the niche audience. So it is the best option when you're looking for just that high growth, but it may not translate into those website clicks, which is my favorite analytic because that's people who want to stop their scroll to go to your website. And something that I find works better for those website clicks are carousels. Carousels are when you post multiple photos or slides, and they tend to resonate the most with your existing followers. I find this especially true on the business to business aspect, that the other vendors will be interacting on the carousel photo posts as well. And because they have multiple posts, you're giving your followers more chances to engage with your content. That's because if they don't engage the first time when the first photo comes and swipe to see more, Instagram may push that post out again at the second image or third image, and you get some more chances for engagement. And that's why carousels are so important. In terms of how the machine of your Instagram works as a social media tool. to get clients. I find that the reels bring people to the profile, and then the photos and carousels of your services, of your work, is what then is allowing people to get to know you and commit. So the reels are bringing new people in, and then the feed of carousels is going to allow them to start to make a decision about you. Another form of posting on Instagram are Instagram stories. Stories are posted and they expire after 24 hours. Stories are the only place where you can have links. So, for example, if you're having a wedding showcase or if you want to push out your contact form, a great way to do that is in your Instagram stories. What you would do is you would go into your Instagram app or either record a story or put in a photo, and then there's all these different buttons you can apply. I find it's a great opportunity to start talking to your audience. It's always going to feel awkward in the beginning. So just getting over that hump and trying it, if this is something you think would work for you, I find it to be a lot of fun, and it gives people the chance to know you and your team. It also does not have to be face on. An Instagram story can be showing what you're working on, showing what you're setting up. It could be photos of an event. And here's a great thing to do with stories. Get a vertical photo of an event, put it in your stories, and tag all the other collaborators because it makes it so easy for them to share it too. And it just expands that reach. But when I go to my analytics for my clients, I find that their followers are very typically really engaged, and the highest interaction that's happening is within the story. So that means that's where you're getting people to actually respond. You know, when you ask a question in an Instagram post caption and it's crickets, if you ask that same question in an Instagram story, you're more likely to get responses because it is now a private exchange between you and the follower. The answer doesn't have to be commented publicly, they can just message you directly. So it's a great way to start that really natural getting to know each other and interaction. I also recommend that you use this as a tool. Respond to stories of venues, of collaborators, of vendors you want to work with, or even of couples who are currently booked or maybe were booked in the past. If a past couple of yours posts a Thanksgiving story, comment, say happy Thanksgiving, stay on top of mind, because you know what? They still can use you and refer you. Let them, let them remember that you exist. And the last feature I'm going to talk about from Instagram are Instagram Lives. So Instagram just loves people using these long form content pieces because it's keeping people on their platform longer. You're keeping people on Instagram and it shows them that you're committed. You're like, hey, I'm active, I'm an Instagram user, and I'm going to push people to you. Lives are also powerful because you can repurpose them. So after the live ends, what I'll do is I'll take that video and I'll download it and I'll repurpose it and break it up into reels or use it for content. Kind of take some ideas that we spoke about in the live, maybe use it for a blog. So type it into ChatGPT, say, hey, I just spoke about this. Can you make a blog post for me? Use this to get ideas, especially as people come in and leave comments on the live. If you'd like a more deep dive on like the art of doing an Instagram live, let me know, because it can be really daunting when you're doing your first ones, but I've gotten some tips along the way of doing it that I think would be really helpful to you guys. I also want to take a moment to thank our sponsor for this quarter, the Inclusive Wedding Summit. This event is happening on January 22nd, 2025, and it's going to be incredible. Whether you join virtually from anywhere or attend in person in New Jersey I will be there and speaking. This summit is designed to help wedding professionals like you create more inclusive businesses and marketing strategies, right? It's not just about you see it. This is one example, but we're talking about all couples, all people, all cultures, all sizes, all abilities, all right? But one broad example is when in June, every flippin' company changes their logo to a rainbow, and then any support after that is nothing. All they did was change the logo. Being inclusive in your business is so much more than just those little things. And we're going to be talking about marketing tools to help you do that. So, my talk is going to be specifically about social media and AI, but also you're going to have speakers like Alan Berg. We have so many different people coming. We have Kristen and Maria Palladino from Equally Wed, lots of attendees. So make sure you check this out at inclusiveweddingssummit.com. And as a listener of the podcast, you can use code NA30 for an additional $30 off your ticket on top of the early bird pricing. So the early bird pricing is valid through December 2nd. So you're going to want to do that code NA30 before then to get double savings. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. Another really fun thing that I wanted to tell you guys about is that my client, Christa Events, has created a virtual advent calendar for wedding professionals. And I was like, just when this idea came up while we were chatting, I was just hoping she and I are both obsessed with advent calendars. Krista's been on the podcast. She usually does like a hot cocoa or tea advent calendar every year. And this year, she decided to make a digital advent calendar for wedding professionals. Each day, you'll receive an email with a digital freebie to help your business grow. So, everything from tips and tools to fun surprises. And I'm even giving one of the offers throughout her advent calendar. So it's a pretty juicy offer. So you're gonna want to sign up. I'll put the link in the show notes, but you could sign up for free at kristagraham.com/advent, and you're not gonna want to miss out on it. It's a lot of fun. So before we wrap up, I want to thank you for listening today. If you found this episode helpful, it'd mean a lot if you could take a moment to rate and review the podcast. That is truly one of the most significant ways to get a podcast to grow. E- Even my own sharing, I share the podcast on social media and through my email list, but what helps it the most is when other people review it, and that would mean so much to me. And for those in the United States celebrating Thanksgiving, I wish you a joyful holiday. And until next time, happy marketing, and I'll see you on the next Wedding Wednesday.